Live from the Moscone Convention Center in San Francisco, California, it's theCUBE at Oracle OpenWorld 2014. Brought to you by headline sponsor Cisco Systems, with support from NetApp. And now, here are your hosts, John Furrier and Jeff Frick.
Hello everyone, welcome back live in San Francisco. This is theCUBE. We are live at Oracle OpenWorld 2014 on the ground, on the floor, inside the Cisco booth on the floor. It's crazy loud, sponsored by Cisco and Intel. Thanks for the shout out to those guys for allowing us to get here. We also have another CUBE live going on across the hall with Dave Vellante and Stu Miniman covering us here. Two simultaneous live CUBEs, so we're excited to bring you all the action. And there is a lot to talk about here at Oracle OpenWorld. Starting Sunday night, Larry Ellison's keynote, Stafford Katz kicked it off, Renee James from Intel, and of course Larry Ellison kicked off the week, and then a slew of keynotes, ton of stuff coming out of Oracle. I get emails and the list of press releases is this long, ton of action. They are in transformation. The lull 3 years ago we saw is now shifted. Oracle's moving. This is one of three, I would say, inflection points in Oracle's history of 30 years that Larry Ellison is saying, we are moving over here because their customers are. So again, we're going to break this down. I'm John Furrier, the co-founder of SiliconANGLE, meeting with Jeff Frick here, and the chairman and founder of Constellation Research, Ray Wang, also principal analyst with the firm. Ray, welcome back to theCUBE.
Hey, thanks a lot. This is exciting. We're moving on beyond the next slide of Larry Ellison here.
Okay, next slide, but great to have you. I know you're super busy. Thanks for spending some time on your busy schedule to come on inside theCUBE. Let's break it down, okay, because there's a lot of action to discuss. One, Oracle's move to the cloud. It looks real. There's some meat on the bone. You're starting to see some meat hanging on the bone there. But their ecosystem, their customers, what's your take? Are the customers, is that where the pressure point's coming, or is this something that Oracle needs to do?
You know, I won't say that the cloud started 15 years ago and people were moving in that space. 5 years ago we were saying Oracle was late to the cloud, but honestly when we ask customers, we're at an Oracle event where it's Collaborate, where it's a customer event. 3 years ago, we asked the audience, how many of you guys are interested in the cloud? 6,000 people in the audience, 10 people rose their hands. I mean, I was sitting there with Mark Hurd and he saw that. 10 people cared about the cloud at that point. Fast forward 2 years, 3 years, it is now top of mind for almost everybody. In every beginning initiative, every transformation project, people are saying, oh yeah, cloud, it's assumed, it's in the RFP. And I think what Oracle's saying is, yeah, now it's time, let's go full force, let's double down.
And so now the focus of Oracle, you're seeing obviously the red stack, vertically integrated, purpose-built systems, engineered systems, great. Looks like they're doing well there, but now you're starting to see Salesforce come into the thing. You go back 2 years ago, Mark Benioff had the big unconference, got kicked out of the keynote, left his $1 million on the stage, had an event at the St. Regis. Now they're in the sights of Oracle. Salesforce is doing some damage, it seems. Now Larry's attention is focused on him. Your take on that piece?
Well, the thing is that if you look at the cloud, right, Salesforce pioneered what was going on at the apps level, which is SaaS. The platform as a service level, which is the Salesforce One piece of it, that's the part where they've been rapidly trying to go after developers and build out that ecosystem, which is a big part for them. That's Oracle's core, right? They've started with the database and worked their way up. So they've gone from the bottom all the way up. Now, if you look at Oracle's strategy, it is from silicon to software, right? They're going down to chips. I mean, these guys are down to like a chip, right in the middle where no one cares about hardware or silicon at this point in time in terms of apps customers, but they're like, let's go address security down at the chip level. So you can see Oracle's going from bottom up, top down, and what basically Benioff has done really well is advocated SaaS, got people to do this. He's evangelized the whole point about cloud and the applications, and he's worked his way down to get people to build on top of the platform. And that was really the push behind the Internet of Everything. He's basically getting all these customers to build on top of his app, connect a toothbrush to a Salesforce system, to supply chain on the back end of a Coke machine. Wow, right? So that's kind of where he's bringing that together.
So let's talk about the cloud strategy. So I'm looking at the slide here he presented. It's Oracle Cloud Platform, social, in-memory, big data analytics, mobile, multi-tenant security. That's at the bottom layer. On top, three major pillars: customer experience, HCM, human capital management, and ERP. He's focusing on those three areas. ERP, we know that business is pretty solid to discuss. Human capital management, this is where the social collaboration, this is the future of work, stuff that you cover, and then this new marketing cloud. It comes to now, it's rearing its head, and he actually said on stage, we had this listening for Twitter and that other stuff. Kind of like almost hand waving it away. So, still early there, so two questions for you. One, HCM, it's legit, it's real. There's some real impact there, Salesforce and others. And then this new marketing cloud, listening and some other stuff he's mentioning. What's your take on those two sectors?
Well, let's start with HCM. HCM is definitely a hot market, the future of work. You're seeing that with the HR tech conferences, all this effort really going to replace these 20 to 25-year-old systems. Let's start with a fact. Oracle had PeopleSoft, Oracle had Oracle HCM. These were two of the market-leading software platforms in the play. If you think about what's going on, well, there's a big replacement cycle on these products. And that's really where companies like Workday have been taking advantage of bringing in these large customer deals coming across the board, and other companies have been going across this whole HCM space. Well, we're actually seeing a lot of traction. Where 2 years ago, we weren't seeing that with Oracle in the HCM space. They're picking up a lot of large deals. And their announcement about talking about core transactions, winning a lot in the core, they've actually been doing that, and we see that in deals. If you talk to Holger Mueller, who's been covering this for us in the future of work, he's actually seeing this, and you're seeing a lot of push, really, to get to core systems along with all the new stuff, which is the engagement apps that we're talking about, that you're talking about, Engagement Cloud, I think you're saying earlier. Yeah. And that is really where it is, because it's more than just create, read, update, and delete. What we want to do is share, what we want to do is publish, what we want to do is take this information, abstract it, and do something else, and you have to do that at the social layer, or else it's not going to happen.
So I'm pulling the slide here, I don't have it to show here, but it's the customer experience, and it says social campaigns, listening, and data as a service. So you see how he's parsing it out, data as a service, and he said, I'm throwing data in, like he's throwing it in like it's a freebie, right? Okay, that's cool, I get that. Data as a service is a big thing. Social
now included with
all our other stuff, of course. Data, database, it's just so good. Larry Ellison was very good on that piece. But social campaigns and listening, obviously this engagement cloud, this marketing cloud, it's not just about selling things, it's also about the digital consumer. What's your take on this? Is this a good future area for Oracle? And how early are they? Is this market developing? Are there other competition in there?
No, actually what's really neat about data as a service, or data cloud as they're calling it, what's happening there is similar to what's going on with data.com. You're basically bringing all these insights, aggregating them, and then hopefully selling them in the future. Right? What you want to be able to take that insight and monetize. Now, you always hear this stat, 90% of all the world's data was created in the last 2 years. Well, hey, 95% of the data was created outside of your four walls. So by 2020, we actually think that 60% of the data that you use inside your organization is going to come from outside of that organization. So what do you do with it? Well, data is that foundation of this digital transformation that's actually happening. I need the data to broker insights. And so if I've got that information, I can now sell that, compare it, do benchmarks, I can use that to actually use performance guarantees. Why? Because we're no longer selling products, we're no longer selling services, we're promising outcomes and experiences. And when that happens, I need to know that if I'm getting a failure on a laptop, getting a failure on an engine, failure on a device, I need to be able to manage, monitor that, and prevent that from happening. Because what I'm going to end up doing is, I'm not going to buy the product, I'm going to buy uptime. And so if I'm promising a customer 80% uptime for $1 million over the next 5 years, and I'm promising 95% uptime for $2.5 million over the next 5 years, I need to get to that type of information. And so we're going to see data becoming much more important there, not just in ad networks, not just in manufacturing, not just in HR, it's the core of what's happening, this digital disruption.
So ERP, they all benefit from data. ERP, HCM, and customer experience clouds are all going to benefit from data. So competition, obviously, we're an Oracle-centric show here. What's the competition look like, and how does Oracle look compared to the competition?
Well, I think Oracle's model is basically, we're going to acquire, we're going to commoditize that technology, and overall, your overall technology spend, if you go with Oracle, is going to drop. Right? Instead of buying all these different vendors, instead of having to deal with integration, instead of having to think about upgrades, instead of having to put all this stuff together yourself and manage it, that's their value prop. So they're basically saying, go with the red stack and you'll be okay. Now the problem is a lot of customers are scared of going to one vendor because that means lock-in. Right, and they're worried about lock-in, so that's why people have been extending, going to other areas. And if you do go with only one vendor, you lose out on some innovation because some new products might not be created. And so that's always been the tension with Oracle customers is, do we go full red stack, or do we go best of breed? And you see a lot of that. And back to what we said in the past, there are three types of Oracle customers. There's pure red stack, the guys that grew up with apps, database, picked up all the acquired entities, and then there's Oracle customers by acquisition, the ones that actually, oh wait, they just bought everything that we bought. What do we do now, right? And then
renegotiate the license.
Renegotiate the license agreement. Make sure I don't buy the same thing 3 times. But that's kind of the things that they're kind of facing. So.
And so that's why that third customer, ones that have a little bit of Oracle running some specific systems and want diversity, they want that openness. What choice do they have?
Well, they have an option to actually build on Oracle's platforms and then choose and pick what they need. So the thing that Oracle has done very well is said, look, you can buy it in the stack, you could buy it outside the stack, run it independently, you could buy it on premises, you could buy it hosted, or if you want, you can buy it in the cloud. And that's what they're offering, is that deployment choice.
Awesome, just type in Dave Vellante, a quick note here, see if he's got any questions for Ray. Dave's at the other cube. Okay, let's talk about Oracle, how they're doing as a business. I mean, obviously, earnings were a little blip in their earnings. Everything looks good on paper. I like what they're doing. The strategy hangs together. I mean, they're moving on these fronts. I like this whole marketing cloud. I see a future there. The question is, can Oracle get that business? And do people want to be on Oracle? So the question is that how do you think they're doing?
Well, I think they're improving their image. That's one of the things that Oracle's traditionally, the biggest problem was that the reason people didn't buy Oracle is they just didn't like Oracle, right? If like 30% or 40% of customers are just like, oh, it's Oracle, I don't want to deal with them, that's a huge problem. So you've noticed a lot of the softening at this conference. This is very interesting. They're talking about the green initiatives, they're talking about where Oracle cares, the people are coming up, it's a kinder, gentler Oracle, they're thanking their customers for being here. I mean, they've been doing this for the last 3 years, but I think it all came together this year. You could feel it, it is very different, the conversations are changing, and you just walk out and say, okay, I think that something is shifting.
Well, last year we were saying on theCUBE, a lot of sizzle, no steak. So this year, a little bit more of that vision seems to be much more, they were busy grinding away last year.
Yes.
You see that too.
It is, and the thing that Oracle's been doing a lot is they've been spending a lot of money with R&D, right? I mean, if you look at the number of products they rolled out, okay, one could say some of these were features, but that is a lot of products and a lot of things to run at the same time for a company this size as well. And so if you look at the R&D budgets, I mean, they're still pretty one of the highest R&D budgets in the industry. Larry is still CTO, he's still naming products, obviously. We can tell, like, these are the most descriptive names in the industry and the worst marketing names at the same time. Like, you know exactly what the product does, but you're like, whoa, that is a long name.
And he's proud of it.
And he's proud of it. Like, there's no embarrassment about it. He's approved everything. He's like, yeah, this is it, guys.
You know,
right? I mean,
watching him like up there is like watching an old timer, one of us up there, and he's well deserved. He's had that 30-year run, and it's pretty impressive. So now I got to ask you to step back, because Larry's kind of CTO, executive chairman, in charge of R&D, even though he's got his trusted lieutenant, Stephen Mark Hurd, doing very well now, operating there with Safford Cats, herding the cats, as they say, on Twitter. It was a great joke. But let's talk about what they need to do. Obviously their M&A activity has been an all-time high, certainly on the social side, and HCM used to make a lot of different buys, and sure they got the checkbook out, and at the same time organic R&D. Question for you, can they do it? What can they pull off out of R&D, and where do they have to go to the market to acquire?
Well, it looks like one of the areas that they're actually going after anything around data, analytics, and insights. That's an area where we see a lot of investment, both in acquisitions and organic. Another area that's going to become really important is really, how do you orchestrate that network and that ecosystem? So you're seeing a lot of investment in partners. I was at the OPN day, and what was interesting is partners in the past were just kind of like, whatever, you know, Oracle's got something out there, we're always competing with them. You are seeing a shift in the partner strategy. You're seeing them be a lot more open. Partners are trying to figure out how to build products. A lot of these system integrators are being slammed. If they're not in the BPO industry where they're trying to get these $100 million deals, they're also trying to figure out how to build new products, right? What kind of intellectual property should they get out there? Not just an accelerator, they're asking the question, can I build on top of the Oracle PaaS? And will I be able to make money on this Oracle PaaS platform?
And will I get locked in?
And will I get locked in?
So that's an open book, but with cloud, it's interesting, you know? If you can maybe be able to pull it off if you have some flexibility up towards the top of the stack.
Yes, and so the thing is, like, every system integrator is thinking about how do we build IP, how do we get out there, and they're looking at all these portfolios that Oracle's acquired, right? And if you're looking at end-to-end systems, right, if you're trying to figure out, I got to figure out campaign to commerce, how would I go do this, right? Well, right now, there are only 3 vendors that can do that, IBM, Adobe, maybe, and Oracle. Right, and SAP is coming at it from the other end, but doesn't have all those pieces around on the CX side.
So talk about your take on the Internet of Things. It seems to have a dead cat bounce here, although it's being talked about. Not a lot of action. I mean, is it Oracle really an Internet of Things solution? I mean, come on.
I think Oracle is the transactional engine that can carry the Internet of Things to happen. There's a lot that's got to go, right? You got sensor and analytics, right? That's got to have to happen. Are they going to come from Oracle? Not necessarily. We might get it in some of the hardware pieces that connect to Oracle. It's like saying Salesforce is going to be the Internet of Things, like what is it connecting? Well, the real thing is it the integration layer, is it the analytics? Those are the places where these software vendors are going to play a role. And then ultimately, what are they touched into in terms of the ecosystems of customers and endpoints that they're connected to?
So we mentioned Salesforce 2 years ago. Mark Benioff protested his keynote, 7 a.m. slot, which is a throwaway slot, and then had his little unconference across the street. Now, bullseye on the back of his head from Larry in terms of a laser on his head. They're trying to take down Salesforce. I want to get your take on the trend and story this year that is not widely being discussed, but certainly evident in the back channel, which is 18 years of being a vendor here. EMC is not here.
I know.
So last year, I think Joe Tucci gave a keynote. What's your take on that? What does that mean? Does that mean that next year EMC will be a competitor? What's your analysis?
Hey, last year we were like marking like, hey, the screen went blue, right? The whole stage went blue for EMC to show up. Big warm hugs, everyone was out there. Well, guess what? What's Oracle putting out there? Storage devices against EMC, competing head on with EMC and NetApp, right? every piece of this market, Oracle wants the whole stack. You can see it. So just on security, right? Intel's up there this year. What do they have? McAfee. Well, what happens if you put software security on a chip, on an Oracle chip? Do you think Intel's going to be there next year? Don't know. We'll find out, right? Think about all the other areas that they're competing head on. Each one of these areas. HP's not on stage anymore, are they? No, what's going on? HP and Cisco, what's happening? They're doing the network, right? Yeah. They're competing head on in that kind of area. So we're seeing this kind of thing, but the thing is like Oracle has a go it alone strategy, right? If you want to buy everything in the stack, go with Oracle. Yeah. That's going to happen more and more as you see that Oracle kind of carve out that space.
Yeah, and certainly I love the Larry Ellison kind of weave in of the Steve Jobs. When Steve and I used to take walks, an elegant
on the dish,
way,
right?
An elegant way. No, Steve never did the dish. He always did the neighborhood.
Right around the neighborhood.
Yeah. But
that's how I know the story is accurate.
It's an elegant way to bring the ghost of Steve Jobs in a respectable way, but also highlight that him and Steve were friends and the whole iPhone, hardware, software integration merging together in the design phase is an Apple-esque and now Oracle. I mean, that's never connected in the market, has it? I mean, that whole Apple of the enterprise, or has it?
Well, you know what, I mean, the engineered system story is really what he's trying to tell with the Apple analogy, tying software and hardware together. I think when it's all said and done, you'll find a lot of interesting things that Larry did that were never said. I mean, he's not one to really tout himself. I mean, you see him up on stage once in a while in short bursts, but he's not out there talking about all the other things that he's been doing. And I would say, I think that's going to be interesting to see when the history is finally rewritten about Larry Ellison.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that you mentioned that I think will be noted, because he's a good showman, he pimps his wares, as we say in the industry, but also he's a competitive strategist. So, you know, taking out competition like Salesforce, EMC potentially, and others, means that HP, I mean, that ultimately is what a businessman has to do.
He's one of the grandmasters of chess, just like Steve Mills. I mean, these are the guys that play the game for the long run.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I got to get your final take on just the show in general. What's your quick take?
You know, a lot more energy. We use the cab driver test. I don't know if you do that. You know, last year I was talking to cab drivers, hey, how was Dreamforce? You know, how was OpenWorld? And they're like, oh, Dreamforce guys were much better and they tip better, right? That was the analysis. I'm talking to the cab drivers right now, and they're like, it looks like something's up. Is this the Dreamforce show? I'm like, no, this is OpenWorld. So I think they've turned the corner a little bit on the activity that's going on. There are more people out later. I think the conversations are richer. We've got a lot more of our clients here, and I think I think it's been a good show.
I think I would agree with you on that. Give them an A+. Okay, let's talk about Ray and your event. What's going on with you? I know you've been super busy, been following your tweet stream. It's like the digital trail. I follow the Ray Wang tweet crumbs to find out what's going on in the industry. You're traveling like crazy. You got a big event coming up. Give us the update on Constellation.
Well, one of the things we're focused on is this digital disruption. The thing that you saw Didier Bonnet talk about at Capgemini today, really about digital transformation leading the change. Well, that's the things that a lot of our clients have been talking about for the last 2 years. How do we take digital, all these technology on social, mobile, cloud, big data, and everything, take these technologies, but build new business models? Can we change and transform the way people work? Can we use data to create new business models? Can we actually go out and change, you know, these industries that are out there, old line industries, and make them digital? So we're spending a lot of time on that. That's what the conference is really about. We're bringing together a whole bunch of folks to do this. With some great speakers there. We got Rachel Botsman reshaping the sharing economy, trying to get back to the original intention, not about startups, not about, you know, these different types of economies that you can kind of build. We've got David Pogue, he's actually talking about the trends that are happening. He's now at Yahoo Tech. We've got Raj Chetty, he's talking the quality of opportunity. We've got Scoble showing up, he's going to be there. We got John Hagel, he's coming in talking about innovation.
We might have the cube there.
We might have the cube there. We're working on this. And it's basically at the Half Moon Bay Ritz, October 29th to 31st.
So talk about quickly the digital transformation puzzle, because you're putting together, it's really incredible as following your work. I think it's really state-of-the-art, bleeding edge, relevant, and that is that it's not about selling ads. Talk about what this digital transformation convergence is all about.
Right, I mean, when we think about digital, what we have to do is really think about how to take data and insights and build new business models, how to take these technologies and do new things. Uber's a great example, right? Uber, social, mobile, cloud, big data, all in one. What? Social, rate the driver rates you, says, oh man, bad tipper. You rate them, it's like, there's no AC or water in the car. Excellent, okay, you can do that. It's mobile because we're actually in motion, taking action on this. It's cloud because the network's putting together the drivers, the cars, your comments all together, and it's big data. You ever see it when it rains, what happens? Surge pricing. You get completely ripped off. It goes from a $5 cab ride to a $30 cab ride overnight. Well, that's what it is. Those are brand new business models actually being exposed, and that's what we're seeing with this digital disruption. There's a stat we use all the time. 52% of the Fortune 500 have been gone, merged, acquired, gone bankrupt since 2000. The American Enterprise Institute actually did the Fortune 500 study since 1955. 88% of all these companies have gone bankrupt and done the same thing on the Fortune 500. That gap started in 2000 when we were looking at the internet, but it wasn't about the internet. It was always about those new business models disrupting what was happening in the marketplace. Companies are now scared of that. 15 years in, they're all scared about what's going to happen, and they're worried about how can they be prepared for digital, and that's what's the essence about this digital transformation, digital business that's happening.
And real quickly, your advice to entrepreneurs and companies out there looking to ride this wave of digital transformation.
Speak slower than I am. No, just kidding. I get really excited about this stuff. And so the reason that you got to think about this is, hey, this is a big shift in the culture. We want to think about crafting a digital DNA, having digital artisans. That's making sure you got right brain, left brain people. A lot of quant jocks, a lot of data folks. Balance them out with design thinking people, anthropologists, people who have a broader view. Think about the way transformation, it's really at the business model change. Understand the business model. If you get what you're doing, you can do it in different ways and be transformational about the metrics that matter. And then also think about how you can leverage what you have. Because today what we're doing is taking these systems of record, systems of transaction, and we're abstracting out of them how to do other things. Create, read, update, delete, that's just not enough. What we have to do is share. We actually take this information, bring it to life, create new experiences and outcomes. And they'll at least take you there.
So we were just talking about our crowd chat engagement application that we have about engagement and how it harnesses the data. I want to get your take on this, because one thing that came up from Dan Hutchins from CSC was, and how he's using it is, and this speaks to your digital transformation, is that he has a managed approach to his outcomes versus an unmanaged. So talk about how digital soon can become a managed process versus kind of unmanaged, say little silos here. That holistic spectrum of managed services and managed campaigns, which is across the board, what does that mean to you?
Well, as we go from analog to digital systems, it's one of the things that we're putting in our book, Disrupting Digital Business, that's coming out Q2 2015, published by Harvard Business Press. One of the things that's happening is that you've got to sense and respond. Right, and that's what you're doing in crowd chat. That's awesome. Like, you could just put out a Twitter feed, you just put out a Facebook ad, you get some clicks back. So what? Can you track that information? Can you bring it back? Can you take this information, bring it to life? Can you then use that to create new segments? Can you test those segments? That's what you're doing in crowd chat, which makes it such a powerful tool. People using it saying, wow, I didn't know I had that audience. And then if you're really smart, you can take it in a competitive way and start listening to what your competitors are doing, invert that, and then take their tag words or take that SEO or bring that in. You see that happening today with programmatic ad networks. You're seeing real-time bidding. You're listening to competitors' tag words, bidding against them, bidding up different things. We're seeing that with social. Those who can actually master these digital tools actually have the ability to actually take advantage of how you segment, engage, and then hopefully actually transact against this.
So managed outcomes. So you're building it into the managed process.
Yes.
I mean, managed services, that's been always the holy grail of IT services, is take that managed approach versus the unmanaged, throw something out there, half my advertising is...
Well, people in the commodity server space storage piece add the word manage and suddenly getting good margins. I mean, I don't know, we won't say who they are, but I think most people know on this.
Great to have you on theCUBE. We broke it a lot down, a lot of action. I do agree, and it's a lot of exciting things. Congratulations on all your awesome work at Constellation. Great to have you on theCUBE to break down. I know you're super busy. Thanks for coming on, really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Okay, Ray Wang, with the founder and chairman of Constellation Research, also principal analyst. They have a big event coming up at Half Moon Bay. Check it out. Really cutting edge digital transformation, transforming businesses using social connected technologies. Basically, it's mobile infrastructure meets big data, security, all that good stuff. This is theCUBE live here in San Francisco. I'm John Furrier with Jeff Frick. We'll be right back after this short break.